These people must be stopped. When you're dealing with toxic, unhealed people and covert narcissists, they will make you feel like you are the problem. They'll never take accountability for their actions, and they will gaslight the hell out of you to maintain access to you and your resources. These people must be stopped. And even if you have tolerated their poor behavior in the past, that doesn't mean you have to accept it today. And this goes for any type of relationship, not just romantic. These agents of chaos, as I like to call them, will act like giving you the bare minimum or any effort or reciprocity is too much. Yeah, no, you're not asking for too much. You're just asking the wrong person. Users, manipulators, and narcissists will never give you what you need. You cannot change them. And it's up to you to recognize their behaviors and patterns and stop them from continuing to have access to you. Hey ladies, welcome back to my channel. I'm Tiffany Celeste, and today I want to talk about how to recognize these users and manipulators and how to shift this dynamic so that it doesn't continue to happen, because a lot of the times their toxic behaviors are so subtle and occurs over time that we don't even recognize it as manipulation or emotional abuse until we're way too deep in it. So first, let's talk about the psychology behind this. Toxic people who benefit from you doing the most while they do the least, they will always try to convince you that your standards are unreasonable or that you are the problem, right? So they will use manipulation tactics called breadcrumbing. That's when someone gives you just enough to keep you interested, but never enough to actually satisfy you. And it's a cycle. They give you just enough to believe there's hope, and then they hook you in again and they fall off. And then when they feel like you're pulling away, they'll pop back up with another gesture and the cycle begins again. A clear sign of this is that they never make any actual plans to show you a good time or real intimacy outside of sex. They don't have a clear plan to move the relationship forward, but they're always there, still offering hope. And if you think about it, the most you get is that common "good morning, beautiful" text, and you got to know that they are just copying and pasting and sending this out to every woman on their roster. Sometimes they may add a little razzle dazzle and send you a "I miss you" text. But again, no real plans on moving the relationship forward. No real plans on actually making time to see you or take you out somewhere nice. And that "I miss you" text is really just a sprinkle of affection. Just enough for you to stay interested, but never enough to truly meet your needs, right? And you always feel emotionally bankrupt. And this is just another manipulation tactic. And the one that I hate the most is that random eyes emoji. It's just the eyes. Like, you're really texting me the eye emoji. Are you serious? Which is, to me, is way worse than the "what are you doing" text. Like, are you really doing this at your big age? And there's no real conversation behind it. And ladies, we don't have time for this, right? And now guess what? You gotta block them, okay? But if you pay attention, even when you do ask for more affection or clarity of the relationship, they make you feel like you're doing the most or crazy for wanting more. And they most likely will say something like, "Damn, why do you always gotta make things so serious?" Or they'll say, "You're so emotional, relax." And ladies, let me know in the comments if any of this sounds familiar. But what you really need to realize is all of this is actually nothing but gaslighting. And it's designed to make you second guess yourself, your memory, and your standards. But let me tell you something, the right person won't make you question where you stand in their life. They'll match or exceed your effort without you having to beg for it. And they most certainly won't play these emotional mind games with you. Okay, so how do you know when you're dealing with one of these agents of chaos who's just here to only take your love or siphon your energy? So a few red flags to look out for is inconsistency. One day they're all in, the next you're ghosted. They disappear, then come back like nothing happened. And they always circle back. And then deflecting responsibility. If they always find a way to make things your fault when you bring up an issue, then that's manipulation. Or they may change the subject altogether to distract you or start an argument about something random and never addressing the issue at hand. And you need to run. You need to run far away from this person because this is classic manipulation. And then lack of reciprocity. If you're the one that's always initiating, planning, checking in, giving, and loving hard, and they just sit back and receive, yeah, that's a problem. And they are just not that into you. And then we have love bombing. At first, they do the most. They sweet talk you. They do grand gestures. They may make you feel like you finally found the one. But as soon as they feel like you're attached, then poof, it stops and they become distant. And that's a control tactic to destabilize you with this hot and cold push and pull toxic behavior. And the next red flag to look out for is your gut tells you something is off. Listen, your intuition is real. And if something feels off, it probably is. A lot of times women will disregard their intuition, their safety, and their well-being, and they second guess themselves in an effort to give the other person a chance, or even out of desperation because they want to be with that person so bad. But never sacrifice your mental and emotional, financial, or physical well-being just for the sake of being in a relationship with someone. It's never worth it. And sometimes these behaviors are so subtle and hard to identify because some people are master manipulators and their initial representative fades over time. And that leads me to the covert narcissists. Unlike overt narcissists who think and act superior to everyone else, covert narcissists are more subdued. These are the ones that have mastered the art of the good guy or good girl image. And women can definitely be narcissists as well. So what makes covert narcissists the most dangerous is they can play the role of humble or the martyr, right? And they can fake empathy and vulnerability as well. But the moment you catch on to this fake facade, they will play the victim every time you call them out. They make you feel guilty or make you feel sorry for them because poor them. They just aren't good at relationships because their crazy ex did them wrong and now they have trust issues. Or they say something like, well, I didn't grow up seeing healthy love, so this is why I act this way. They always position themselves in a way that you end up feeling sorry for them. So listen, their past may explain their behavior, but it does not excuse it. Just because they were hurt in the past doesn't give them a pass to hurt you, okay? And look out for my next video because I'm doing a deep dive into covert narcissist behavior and their manipulation games. So be on the lookout. So what can you do? How do you protect your heart and your energy and attract better connections? It starts with self-worth, self-awareness, and asking the right questions. And I have a few questions that you want to ask yourself, and then I'll go into the questions that you should be asking of the other person. So these are the questions you should be asking yourself. What am I actually asking for? Sometimes we let people convince us we're asking for too much, but are we really? Or are we just asking for the bare minimum: respect, honesty, effort, and time? And 2, what does this person's action show me? Because words mean nothing without action. Do they actually show up for you? Do they follow through on what they say in a timely manner? An emphasis on timely. So if you said that you needed something and then 3 months down the line, they're finally just getting around to it, that's not respect and that's not love. And then next, am I feeling seen, valued, and safe in this relationship? If the answer is no, more often than yes, then that's your answer. The next question you want to ask yourself is, am I making excuses for this person? We love to make excuses for people we care about. But just think about it. If it was your bestie who told you her man was doing the same thing, you'd be like, girl, leave, right? So stop making excuses for other people's poor behavior. And the next question you want to ask yourself is, am I ignoring red flags? We often don't address when someone triggers our insecurities. So you want to get clarity on what is being triggered and why. And we may also tolerate behaviors that make us feel emotionally or physically unsafe because they told us we were too sensitive. So we just go with the flow. Now, when it comes to other people, especially early on, here are some questions to ask them to filter out the users from the real and authentic people. So these agents of chaos love to talk about themselves, and they tell themselves if you pay attention. So ask them these questions and pay attention to their answers. So you'll want to ask, how do you handle conflict? If they say something like, I just shut down, or I hate drama, that might mean they avoid accountability. A question you may want to ask them is, what's something you're working on within yourself? A person who lacks self-awareness won't have a real answer. Another question to ask them is, what does loyalty mean to you? Users often view loyalty as one-sided, where they benefit and you sacrifice. And if anyone ever says to you, I want a ride or die chick, please leave them alone. So once you get through the questions that you've asked yourself and you've asked the other person and have identified the possible problems, now you actually have to fix it. Because it's not enough to know a problem exists. You actually need to do the work to fix it. So here's how you start attracting better people. You need to raise your standards. And I'll talk a lot about standards, values, and boundaries in my videos, because when you're operating with high standards, you'll avoid a lot of mess and you'll stop explaining why you need what you need. People who want to meet your standards will, and those who don't, won't. And you can sign up for my Sacred Standards session where I can help you get clarity and uncover what your sacred standards are and how to apply them to all life areas so that you're living in alignment. The link for more details and scheduling is in the description box below. All right, so you want to get comfortable with discomfort. When you stop entertaining the wrong people, there might be seasons of loneliness, and that's normal. It's okay. It's all right to be single for a season. And just let it happen. Don't rush back to what's familiar. Don't rush back into another toxic relationship. And then next, you want to enforce your boundaries. A boundary is only as strong as the consequence. If someone keeps violating your boundaries and you keep letting them, it's not a boundary in their point of view, it's only a suggestion. And you also want to heal your inner wounds. Sometimes we accept less because deep down we believe that's all we deserve, or you may have experienced toxicity growing up or in a previous relationship, and it feels strangely familiar and normal. And if that's you, it's time to work through that, whether it's through therapy, journaling, or just sitting with yourself and unpacking the why. At the end of the day, you are not asking for too much. You're just asking people who are incapable of giving you what you need. And that's not a you problem, it's a them problem. You don't deserve to be used or manipulated or to have to settle for less. So stop settling. Stop explaining why you deserve to have your needs and your standards met or why you desire to be treated better. The right people, they won't make you convince them to do right by you. They'll just do it. And if you want clarity with mapping out your Sacred Standards framework, and then again, sign up for my Sacred Standards session. All information will be linked below. And come talk to me in the comments below and tell me, have you ever felt like you were asking for too much? Or have you ever dated one of these agents of chaos? So let's talk about it below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.